Hello. It is July 19th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome to the Daily Solve. This is not the New York Times. This is a crossword puzzle from The Guardian, a newspaper in the United Kingdom. Some people in the comments have pointed out how reliant the New York Times crossword can be on North American culture, which I know is the case, and have asked me if I would be interested in doing any British crosswords, especially as I reside in Britain. I am extremely unfamiliar with British crosswords. I have barely even touched cryptic crosswords, which feel to me an entirely different category of thing. My sort of general understanding of the different categories of British and American crosswords is that British general knowledge crosswords, such as this one from The Guardian, are almost closer to essentially trivia quizzes than they are puzzles because there are a lot fewer crosses. Words tend to be more isolated, and there's less of the puzzling element, and the clues themselves also tend to be a bit more straightforward and less about wordplay. Whereas British cryptic crosswords are the complete opposite. They're much more puzzles than they are general knowledge tests, and they're much more about extreme expressions of wordplay and very arcane knowledge that is specific to cryptic crosswords in a way that is much more pronounced than in the New York Times crossword, for instance. And the New York Times style American crossword is something in between those two things. It's sort of the midpoint between the general knowledge quiz and the grid wordplay puzzle, and that's what I like about it personally. To be honest, I like that it's sort of a moderate amount of each of those things. But I figured, why not take a stab at a British general knowledge crossword? And so I just went to the Guardian's website and I clicked on today's quick crossword. I don't know how I'll fare. I mean, I could completely crash and burn on this, but I'll give it a shot and see if it's something that is enjoyable to me or to you. All right, so we've got absurd with 9 letters. That's more letters than I want to deal with right off the bat, so I'm going to skip it for the time being. Limit. This could be edge, could be limit as a noun, like edge. Give out. This could be emit. Let's put that in for now. A millstone. This could be metaphorically a millstone and deal with some kind of something that weighs you down. Could be literal as well. Kind of basic test that turns red or blue. Would a pH test do that? Probably not, because a pH test has more than 2 states because it's a numerical scale. What kind of basic test turns red or blue? I mean, a pregnancy test doesn't really do that. It's got the line. I don't know offhand, actually. Intended, that's another long one. Could be a few things. Tax on a house purchase. Oh, here's something to note about British crosswords that is not, as far as I'm aware, rare in American crosswords, is this parenthetical at the end of the clue that tells you how many letters the word is, which in a single word clue is sort of redundant with the grid, but will actually tell you when there are 2 words in the answer. And that's something that an American crossword won't tell you. You have to figure that out for yourself. This is tax on a house purchase, which is oops, not in the grid, which is stamp duty, which is a form of taxation that is levied in the UK when you buy a home as a percentage of the purchase price of the home. Inaction, 4 letters. I don't know. I feel very exposed doing this crossword. To revise at the last minute. Well, this would be cram. This is revise in the British sense, meaning to sort of study for an exam, something like that. With added seasonings, probably spiced. Most senior is probably oldest. I mean, that seems really obvious, but it probably is. Truly, the spiced may not be true because truly blank deeply 1990 Anthony Minghella film. I don't know this film, but Truly Madly Deeply sounds like... I mean, that's the name of a song, I think. Let's see where I get with that. With added seasoning. Let's see, this S is probably wrong. It probably ends with ED because it's probably an adjective that ends with ED. With added seasoning, I mean, I suppose, salted, I suppose. I mean, I guess salt, I guess salt is a seasoning and not a spice. So that actually would be more accurate. Fair enough. Shabby could be ratty or dingy. Expression of annoyance, ? 2 words. Could be tisk, maybe? With that, it's got that hyphen in there, which again, that's something you wouldn't be placed for you in an American crossword, for whatever reason. A cavity in the bones of the skull. Oh boy, I don't know that. In an undertone. This would be sotto voce, which is when you sort of speak in a low voice and are only mean to be heard by the person you're addressing. Extremely exact. So sometimes in a British crossword, I think you'll see... I'm saying all these things in a British crossword, you'll see this. I mean, I've probably done, like, number of British crosswords I've done in my life, you could probably count on one hand, but I do know that they do have these sort of doubled clues here. This is probably very, and what they mean is not, it just means either of these could be used to, as the clue is what that means, essentially. It doesn't mean anything more than that. I don't think, anyway. A rocky outcrop is probably a crag. Leading article, I tailored anagram. So this is sort of a funny thing. The cryptic crossword, which is the other category of British crossword, has all absolutely jam-packed of wordplay. I mean, that's the sort of primary component of a cryptic crossword is wordplay. A British general knowledge crossword, as I said, is generally less concerned with wordplay than a British cryptic or even an American standard crossword. But sometimes they do, just for whatever reason, throw in an anagram. And so what this means is the primary clue is leading article. And then what this is saying is the answer can be constructed out of an anagram of I tailored. And what that means is that tisk is incorrect. But I bet it is tut, which is similar, but actually probably a better answer for an expression of annoyance, because tisk is less that you're annoyed and more that you're scolding the person because of something they shouldn't be doing. Whereas annoyance, well, I don't know. Maybe these are pretty similar, but whatever. Seems fine. So anyway, leading article, I tailored. So leading article. And it's one word. Editorial. So this is, you can already see how different the sort of knowledge base of this is in comparison to an American crossword, because this idea of a leader, I mean, I wouldn't say that this is not a phrase in the United States, but it is the case in Britain that there's a category of article called a leader, and it's often sort of the political leader, and it's a sort of headline article that communicates often the sort of view of the paper politically, and it's a phrase that isn't really used as much in the U.S. in my experience. And then similarly, stamp duty is a tax that is specific to this country, and then revise is very much a verb that is specific to the UK. You would never hear that in the United States when you're talking about studying for a test. So you can already see how different this is culturally. To consecrate is to ordain, and then ordain could also be the verb order. Oh, cavity in the bones of a skull is your sinus. Your sinus cavity is what that is. Shabby. Could it be shaky? I'm not sure. To join forces, and this is 2 words, 4 and 2 letters, is to team up. Oh, shabby would be seedy. That's what, oops. That's what that is. If something is open to interpretation, I suppose this would be ambiguous. Encouragement to a child who's taken a tumble. Encouragement to a child who's taken a tumble. So this could be either a phrase that you say to a child, or it could be describing the encouragement. It is, oh, I just noticed, it does have a dash in the middle. So this is a hyphenated compound word or phrase comprised of 2 words with a dash. So what? I'm not sure offhand. I'm probably missing something obvious there. A peculiarity is an oddity. The lower house of the Russian Federal Assembly since 1993. I think that would be the Duma. Wiretaps. Bugs. If you wiretap someone's phone, you bug it. Did we ever look at this? Intended? Oh, let's see. Not since we had some crosses put in there. Something is intended. Oh boy, I'm not sure. What else have we not looked at much? Watery component of blood. Could this be serum? Watery component of blood. What are the components of blood? Act to reconcile differences. Act to reconcile differences. So this could be either a verb or a noun. Arbitrate. It's the verb, I think. And then what's this? This is the limit. Could it be curb? If you limit something, you curb it. It could be. Millstone. Still not sure. Kind of basic test. That turns red or blue. Kind of basic test that turns red or blue. This is going to drive me crazy. I don't know if it's something that I know or a litmus test. The most common kind of test that's cited sort of politically and things like that. So I wonder if this watery component of blood is in fact serum. Let's see, absurd. Not sure. Encouragement to a child who's taken a tumble. Could it be? Could it be oopsie daisy? It doesn't look like it fits here, but if you spell it with a U, upsie daisy. It's the thing you say to a child to sort of, whoops, oh no. So the reason that I feel so much less confident doing this puzzle is because, like I said, you have a lot fewer crosses. And that's what I mean when I say it's almost more of a quiz than it is a puzzle. I mean, it's a puzzle as well, of course. but you have to be able to be confident about your answers with fewer opportunities to cross them. Let's look back here, inaction. This feels like it couldn't have too many options. Inaction. I mean, it's inaction, idleness. It could be inaction as an indecision. What version of it would it be? I mean, it's not very long. I suppose rest. So it's inaction in a very general sense. I was thinking of it more in a sort of decisiveness, indecisiveness sense, but it's more general than that. Intended. Intended. So this could be either I intended to do something, or it could be intended as an adjective. The thing I did was intended. It was what was intended. Oops, there's no shortcut to switch across and down. Absurd. A lot more silent thinking doing this crossword than there is doing the ones I normally do. So a millstone is something that weighs you down. It's a burden. It is something that burdens you. This B limits this a lot, I think. Screwball, as in a screwball comedy. A screwball, something totally ridiculous and absurd. All right, all we have left here in this relatively inefficient and unimpressive solve is intended. My guess is that it's intended the adjective as opposed to intended the verb. If something is intended, it is meant. It could be meant for you. It could be meant for you in particular. You're intended, you're betrothed. The person you are intended to marry is what that probably is. All right, I found that difficult. I found that quite difficult. How do we do this? Check all, is that what I press? Did it? Oh, confirm check all. No? Did I get something wrong? I can't tell. I can't tell how to do this. Confirm check all. Did I get the puzzle right? I'm not sure, but that was the I think that was the Guardian crossword. Quick crossword number 15,974, which was the puzzle for Monday, July 19th, 2021. I hope you enjoyed it despite the long periods of silence there. Got there in the end, I think. In fact, let me just I'll cut the video here. I'm going to see if I can figure out if this is actually the correct solution. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found a solution online, and as far as I can tell, unless I've mistyped something, I believe this is the correct solution. So that's the puzzle for you. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing these. I probably don't want to double the amount of time I spend every day doing these videos right just yet, but that was fun, and I certainly felt more challenged than I do doing a New York Times crossword puzzle. So that goes to show how much you sort of learn the ins and outs of a particular style of crossword. But I'll probably keep trying to do a few more of these from time to time. Doing it on a Monday was a little easier because the Times crossword didn't take very long. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did. And with that, I will take my leave. I will see you tomorrow for the return of the standard daily solve. So join me then. Take care.